From Webcast One Live Studios, it's the Strong Tower Financial Hour, where we help you tackle financial issues no matter how big or small. We help people go from being broke and scared to having hope with a plan. And now, here is your host, the owner and lead financial coach at Strong Tower Consulting, Justin Bennett.
And we are live here at the Webcast One Studios. Thank you for joining us. This is the Strong Tower Financial Hour, where we do give help and hope to those who want to go from being broke and scared and giving them hope with a plan. Again, I'm your host, Justin Bennett of Strong Tower Consulting. This is the Strong Tower Financial Hour, and we are in 2013. We are 14 days in. Don't know if you're keeping your resolutions or not. Hopefully you are. And again, this show is to hear talking about money. A little bit on the show today. We are going to have later Adam Olbrich with AO Wealth Advisory. We're going to talk about the fiscal cliff. Are we still on the cliff? Did we fall off the cliff? Where is the cliff? We'll talk about that and the American Taxpayer Relief Act of 2012 and how does that impact you and me. Also later on the show, we're going to have Jim White with Jim White Financial Coach out of Tyler, Texas, another financial coach like myself. So you get a chance to hear from someone besides me how financial coaching can not only benefit you, but why we do this. I think it's important for you to know. Well, again, we have Adam Olbrich in our studios today. Adam, how are you?
Doing well.
Awesome. So, again, 14 days into 2013. Hope you and your family had a Merry Christmas.
Oh, we had a great Christmas, and kids got enough stuff, and they're still playing with it magically. So that, I figure, is the test of a good toy. Did it make it past the start of school?
And did it make it past the gift wrapping in the box, too?
Yes, yeah. The boxes all got tossed out eventually after they were used as tons of other items.
Very, very good. Well, obviously one of the hot topics in finance out there, if anyone's watching TV at all or online at all, is the fiscal cliff and this new tax, the American Taxpayer Relief Act of 2012 that just passed recently. So What in the world is the financial cliff, and are we on it? Did we parachute off? Did we climb off, fall off? Help us out here.
We stopped just short of it 36 hours after it passed, if that makes sense. But
wow,
the fiscal cliff was obviously a group of taxes and spending cuts. A lot of the taxes got settled, and the good thing about it is they got settled permanently. Whether you agree that it's the right rate or not, the good thing is that it's now a permanent thing, that we don't have to wait another 10 years or there's another sunset hanging out there on the tax side of it. The spending cuts, they just got punted down the road for about 3 months, and there's still an expectation that some of them will happen, but they gave themselves more time to figure out which ones they really want to do and which ones might happen at a future date and time or never get cut.
So what you're saying is we're going to be hearing more about this. We're still on the cliff.
Still on the cliff, and the other thing that's talked about now is the debt ceiling. So it's kind of like the credit card limit. Congress gives the president a certain amount of credit card limit, and we've hit that limit. So now how do we continue to pay our bills? Will Congress raise the debt ceiling or the credit card limit that the federal government has? Right now it's about $16.2 trillion.
Can you even imagine trillion? I mean, that's just a number.
It's a phenomenally large number. I mean, you look at, I think it's 1 billion seconds ago was time of Jesus. So think about 1 trillion, how far back that is.
Wow.
It's prehistoric time eras where 1 trillion seconds ago would be.
Wow.
So a very large number. And, you know, it's kind of funny because Congress passes the laws of how much money to spend. Now they have to pass a law to figure out if we can actually spend that amount or if our credit card limit has been maxed out.
Wow. Interesting.
Yep.
Well, that's why we have you here. And by the way, Adam Olbrich is a certified financial planner, CFP, if I'm saying that correctly.
Correct.
And anything on the tax side, make sure to be seeking out a qualified tax professional. But we're going to be talking about some taxes in through our discussion as well as some things. And this is for everybody, no matter where your income level is or your tax bracket. What we're going to be discussing here in the next little bit is important to you here. So let's just start with the tax rates on this new bill that got through.
Pretty much anybody under $400,000 had their federal rate stay the same. Those over 400, if you're single, 450 if you're married, i.e. marriage penalty is coming back into play. Now your tax rate went higher. What it didn't talk about, though, was the FICA, or the Social Security and Medicare part of your paycheck. If you've had a paycheck yet this year, or if you're going to get it this week, you'll probably notice it's smaller by about 2%.
Ouch.
And that was one thing that wasn't part of the bargain of the fiscal cliff, and that they took those rates back to where they were 2 years ago. So for the last 2 years, you got a break, no more break.
So what we're saying in the simplest of terms is my paycheck just got smaller.
Yep. Everybody's tax amount went up. It's just the federal tax rate, the part you pay for income tax part of that, didn't change unless you were over $400,000.
Wow. Absolutely incredible. Well, moving on, let's talk about the estate tax. I know that was a pretty big thing, hot topic in this conversation of this bill. So talk about the estate tax. Did it change, not change?
Yeah, it mainly stayed where it was in 2012. So 2013, we're going to go down to $1 million. 2013 and forward now is a $5 million number. And why that matters is there's so many people. You look at a farm ground. You look at 500 acres of farm ground, which is still a nice size farm, but that would have been subject to $1 million estate tax amount. That person would have to come up with about $3 million on the owner's death. Well, you own farm ground, you don't have cash in the bank. Now they're able to pass that on to their next generation without an estate tax on the money, but the next generation still has operating tax and things that way on it. So it passes along a larger amount of money than would have been in the normal 2013 rate, which has been about $1 million rate.
Wow. So that's a good thing then.
Yes, very good thing, especially those that plan to prosper in their lifetime. And that number includes, that $5 million estate includes IRAs and 401ks and things like that. So as people are building financial assets in their life, it's not inconceivable for somebody to have a $5 million estate and live what's considered a middle-class lifestyle because they've been able to save up those dollars and compounding of the investment returns.
Well, and I think you made a good point. A lot of listeners of this show, they're thinking, wait a minute, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. You're talking about $1 million, $5 million estate. Why do I care? Well, we care because if you do the stuff we teach, the baby steps, the Dave Ramsey baby steps, you do a budget, you get out of debt, you do all that. Why are you going to all that work and sacrifice? It's to build wealth.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, when you build wealth, this estate tax thing that 2 or 3 years ago may not have been a big deal, now all of a sudden we're paying more attention to that. So again, stay with us because that's an important thing to think about as you're going from being that broken, scared person and going to with hope with a plan. Because when you get to some wealth or inherit some wealth, this is some stuff that you need to know.
Yep.
Well, let's talk a little bit about you mentioned the marriage penalty. So kind of walk us through that.
Yeah. So what the marriage penalty is really just a set of parameters in the tax law that aren't equal if you're single or married. So if you're single, the rate is $400,000 is when you bump up to the new higher rate. If you're married, now that should be in theory $800,000, but they didn't set it that way. They set it at $450,000. So
nice.
Those married couples that earn over $400,000 but under $800,000 now have a penalty for being married instead of being individual people that earned that amount of money. So if you've got, obviously it's a large number, but two execs earn $250,000 each. If they were single, they'd pay less than if they were married. So that's part of the marriage penalty.
Wow.
So it's not a specific tax. It's just part of the tax rules that don't treat being married equal.
So there are some temporary extensions that have happened with this bill. Kind of walk us through some of the extensions that maybe aren't permanent but are temporary.
Yeah, part of the temporary is for those over 70 and a half, you can send money from your IRA to a charity. That's still a temporary thing. There are some other temporary things with tax credits for businesses, with deductions on businesses, how much they can deduct of capital expenditures. And also the capital gains of business stock. So it's a lot of these little areas inside of the tax code, not top level 1040, front 2 pages of a 1040. It's more the stuff buried inside of it that they have just extended for a little bit longer, thinking that it will penalize the American people too much. The one that I really hope does stay permanent is the IRA deduction one. So a person that's 70 and a half, they have to take a certain amount of money out of their qualified IRA. So traditional pre-tax IRA money, they have to take about 4% the first year out. Instead of taking it out and putting it as their income, they're able to shift that money and send it straight to charity. So helps them on their tax rate, helps the charity out on a deduction-wise. So I kind of hope that one stays as a permanent. They've been extending it since about 2008 when they first came up with this idea. But we'll see if it continues on to be out there or not. I know I've received quite a few emails from vendors about it already, and charities saying, hey, if you've got an RMD to give this year, we could be the place that it goes to.
You mentioned in a few months this debt ceiling, and over the next few months, this debt ceiling is going to be talked about. And so whenever we hear about laws that are going to get passed, or in the media, I mean, whether it's on Facebook or on websites or on the news, and we hear all this, how do you recommend just the regular folks taking all of this in from the media? How do we try to make sense of all this? Because we only hear it from one side of it, and then there's the other side of it. So how do we filter that through?
Yeah, the filter with investments particularly that I use with investments is, will this impact the ability of Hewlett-Packard to have a profit this year? Will this impact the ability of the companies or the stocks that I own or the mutual fund managers that I use to invest my money? Will it impact their ability to do business? Because that's in the end what it's really all about, is we become owners of companies as investors. So as an owner of the company, are we going to receive less profit because Congress goes out and says, oh, we're going to tax this or we're not going to tax that? The debt ceiling discussions, right now it seems like a lot of background noise. And if nothing happens, yeah, we've got a problem. But the penalty for nothing to happen is so large that it's almost inconceivable that they won't do something about it. I think today Obama was on for a press conference about it. There was Republican rebuttals. It'll go back and forth hopefully until they do something to raise that limit. There was some interesting ideas floated about what presidential powers he has. Again, it's background noise, and from an investment standpoint, it doesn't have a lot to do with the ability of any company out there to earn a profit, which is really what we want as investors. Is we want the companies to earn profits. We want them to earn obscenely large profits because we're the owners of them.
That is and that's why we invest the money in the first place, so we get a portion of that back.
Yep.
Well, Adam, it's always a pleasure to have you on, and Super Bowl's coming in a couple weeks. Any predictions? Anybody you're hoping to win? I don't know who your favorite team is. Are they in? Are they out?
Yeah, I grew up a 49ers fan. So I am loving their new quarterback right now. I think I hope to see a similar result this next weekend, but it was sure fun to watch him run up 170-some yards on Saturday night. So,
and for me, I'm a giant Packer fan, so watching the second half was hard. I'm still licking the wounds, if you will. So. But the CK played an awesome game. Well, thanks again, Adam, for joining us today. We love having you on the show. Again, it's AOWealthAdvisory.com. Adam Obrecht, Strong Tower Financial Hour. We will see you in a moment.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. Hi, I'm J. Michael McCoy for Adam Obrecht, financial planner and AO Wealth Advisor. Adam, tell the folks listening today, just who is Adam Obrecht?
I am a certified financial planner, and I created AO Wealth Advisory a couple years ago to be able to help people with their finances all the way from basic budgeting on to retirement and estate planning.
All right, now that we know who you are, what do you do? How do you help people?
I help people by focusing on three key areas. On what they earn, how they invest it wisely, and then also where they give it on, whether it's onto charity or onto family, but do it from a biblical base, using verses that have been around forever, transcendent knowledge that's been around 4,000 plus years.
Call Adam Obrecht, a financial planner with AO Wealth Advisory. Give us your number, Adam.
Yeah, 515-224-7849.
Advisory services offered through Investment Advisors Corp., an SEC-registered investment advisor. Securities offered through Broker Dealer Financial Services Corp., members FINRA and SIPC. Thanks for watching.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
My name is Justin Bennett with Strong Tower Consulting. where we passionately coach individuals, families, and businesses to make better financial decisions that help create success and eliminate financial stress. I offer a free 30-minute consultation where we find out where your situation is. I explain how I do my coaching services. Then it's up to you whether you want to continue. The Bible has, depending on who you believe, 800 to 2,000 scriptures that talk about money alone. So it's a pretty important subject in God's eyes. That's one of the things that I enjoy doing, is help them see God's ways of handling money. You know, it's interesting. Most people that I ask, what would it be like to be debt-free? The common response is, I don't know. I don't think it's possible. But in 90 days, most of my clients go from, I don't think it's possible, to, I'm excited. In 2 years or less, I will be debt-free. There's no tricks, no gimmicks, nothing being sold here. It's just learning how to do money well. This is Strong Tower Financial Hour, where we help people go from being broke and scared to having hope with a plan. And we are back. This is the Strong Tower Financial Hour, where we give hope to folks about their money. And we're glad that you are here today. And we just had Adam Olbrecht with AO Wealth Advisory talking about the American Tax Relief Act of 2012. Be sure to check that out and go back and listen to that if you missed it earlier. On our show now is we have Jim White of Jim White Financial Coaching. He is a good friend of mine and a fellow coach out there in the field. Jim, how are you?
Great. How about yourself?
Well, as our friend and mentor Dave Ramsey would say, better than I deserve.
Absolutely. It is better than we deserve.
And isn't technology great? We're live on a webcast on the phone talking from Texas to Iowa. There's about 800 miles between us.
Absolutely. It's great, isn't it?
Oh, it's awesome. Well, folks, the reason why I have Jim on today as a fellow coach is I wanted you to hear from someone else that shares the same passion that I do. Why is he in the business? What does he see when he coaches clients? Just again to further give you perspective, you know, financial coaching is not it's not a something that's been around forever, but it is something that's gaining ground because folks like to go to coaches, folks who know some things about finances, but they're not going to sell you product, and that's one of the things. Both Jim and I are the same way. We don't sell insurance, we don't sell investments. What we do is we give you help and hope, and go through those basic financial things and help you get a plan. So, Jim, tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you married, kids, grandkids? Tell us about you.
Well, I'm married, have two lovely daughters and two great son-in-laws and a granddaughter, and it's just great to be alive. And I have a wife, Sharon. We've been married 43 and a half years, and it's been great. It's getting better and better as we go further and further in our lives, mostly due to because we understand what finances will do in our lives, and we try to promote that and our children and son-in-laws and everybody else that we come in contact with. So it's great. I retired from a grocery chain here after 30 years and decided what I was going to do with my life. And after researching and mentoring with a few folks, I decided that I'd be a financial coach because that was my passion, of helping people with their finances as I was helped, and became 100% totally debt-free.
Wow, 100% debt-free? I mean, is that possible, Jim? I mean, did you rob a bank? How did that happen?
No, didn't rob a bank. It just we got a raise when we did our budget because we told our money where it was supposed to go and how it was supposed to go, and we followed the plan. We had the hope. We got more hope, and then we just devised a plan. To make that happen, and when we did, we became debt-free so that basically I could launch this business of financial coaching so that I wouldn't have to worry about making a house payment or car payment or anything like that.
Wow. So, Jim, tell us, what was the aha moment, or was it a series of events when it said, wow, this financial coaching, again, was it a moment? Was it a series of events? What was it that triggered you that said, I really want to help people get control of their finances, because there's a lot of folks that simply don't?
Well, it happened several years before I retired. I was in the procurement department, which means that I procured products, Hispanic products and ice cream and potato chips and stuff like that for the grocery chain. And in doing so, I met people all over the country and the world, so to speak, that after doing the business, I was able to also do, just make deals on my feet and on the spot. And then I would ask, okay, how are you guys? What about your finances? Somehow it just kind of led to that. And so then years later, these folks started coming back to me that I had met and talked with and said, because of what you said, Jim, about how you're doing your finances and how do we need to do ours and take brown lunches or brown bag our lunches to work and so forth and so on. I'm debt-free today, or I'm going to be debt-free in 2 years, and that's what inspired me to move forward into financial coaching.
So how long have you been doing coaching then full-time, Jim?
Full-time, 5 years, almost 5 years.
Wow, so you've been doing this a little while. And if you were to say, what is the number one key to getting someone's financial house in order, whether you're single, married, divorced, what would you say is the number one key to winning with your money?
Not to lie to yourself. Be honest with yourself with what your money is doing. And when you're honest with yourself, and then as I teach and coach folks, put it on paper on purpose, that's when the rubber meets the road.
It's interesting you say that. I've heard of a book over the weekend. I want to read it called The Power of Habit. And in this video I saw online, it talked about how he had every time between 3 and 3 p.m. every day he was eating a cookie and realized that later every day eating those cookies gained 8 pounds. And so what he wanted to do was to lose weight. And so what he did was begin to track it and found out when he was doing it and why he was doing it. And then when he realized he wanted different results and started paying attention, he began to lose the weight. And, whether you want to lose weight or get out of debt or have a better marriage or whatever your goals are, I think what you just said as far as just being honest with yourself, and really it's about paying attention. I mean, Jim, we do the same thing, and I just find all the time when my clients pay attention, and probably yours as well, even when they do it wrong, they still get the results they're looking for.
True, and just doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's not the straight and narrow, because you're going to have a lot of situations that happen. You're going to have some bumps in the road and some dips, and you got to make sure that you take care of that. But if you have a plan and you're honest about it, you can go through all those situations in your life. And on the other end, you still have the focus of taking care of your budget and taking care of your money.
So walk me through, Jim. Let's say I'm a potential client and I give you a call saying, hey, I'm interested in coaching. What do you say are the next steps? Do you have a sit down for free, or how do you do that?
Well, I usually have a 45-minute free consultation, so the potential client can get to know me and I can get to know them. I usually send a pre-consultation form by email to them or by mail or fax, and in turn they send that back to me, and then I have a little bit of idea of what kind of questions to ask prior to them coming in, like gross income or net income, or how much debt do you have? Do you have credit card debt? Do you have student loan debt? Or are you getting close to retirement years, so forth and so on? So I kind of get them geared up coming in, and if I can get them through the door and we sit down and talk for 45 minutes, sometimes it takes an hour, hour and a half, and they get to know me, I get to know them, and then I challenge them, okay, here's what and then I ask them, okay, what is your focus? What's your goal? And they said, well, we want to get out of debt. I said, okay, based upon what I see here, you can do that anywhere from 2 years to 3 years, or even in some cases 6 months, but they can't see the forest for the trees.
It's interesting. You're like me. You have a free consultation, and it's set for X amount of time, but usually it goes longer. And I think the reason why, Jim, it goes longer, at least for me, I don't know about you, it's all about building relationships, because personal finance is so personal. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's not only the personal relationships, it's the passion I have inside of me, and it's in my DNA. And so if they can't get excited about what their finances can do based upon what I have have spoken to them about or shared with them, then I haven't done my job.
And so you've walked through this process, 45-minute meeting, hour meeting, and they have said, yes, I want to become a client. What do you get a sense from them that they are feeling some, hey, we might get some, do they get it yet? Are they starting to feel some hope? Or are they just signing the dotted line going, hope this works?
No. You got to give them hope first. I give them hope first. Hope is that they can do this. I see some areas that they could change and actually, kind of give them a hint. Well, if you did this right here, this is what would propel you for the next 6 months in saving money if you haven't been, or paying off this debt. So if you give them hope, that's because where the passion comes into me, and giving folks hope about their own finances, even though, because they can't see, they're in their box, they can't really see outside that box, but I'm on the outside, and I can see all kinds of potential, and so I give them hope, and then by giving them that hope, they say, well, let's start the process, and how do we get started?
Jim, that's exactly right. And as you were talking, I was reminded of a proverb. Proverbs 13:12 says, hope deferred makes the heart sick. That's the first part of that verse. And I've even shared that verse with some atheists, and they agree. If there's no hope, I just feel sick. But later in that chapter 13 of Proverbs, it does say that desire to accomplish is sweet to the soul. And that's what you and I are about as financial coaches. We take that hope and we give them hope that you can do better with your money. And if you trust us and walk alongside us in this journey, you will get to the goals and the results that you want to get to. When we come back, we're going to have Jim White. We're going to talk more and more specifics about the coaching process. So stick with us. We'll be back.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm not about to give up because I heard you say there's gonna be brighter days. There's gonna be brighter days. I won't stop, I'll keep my head up. No, I'm not here to stay. There's gonna be brighter days. There's gonna be brighter days.
And we are back live here. This is a Strong Tower Financial Hour. I am Justin Bennett, your host. And in our last segment, we had Jim White with Jim White's Financial Coaching, a fellow financial coach and partner in crime, and what we do here. And we were talking about the coaching process and why he's excited about it. And so, Jim, do we have you on?
Sir, I'm here.
All right. So we're walking through basically with our listeners here. So someone signs up as a client with a financial coach. What's the next step in this?
Well, when they make the agreement and we're going to do the coaching, I do a coaching process of anywhere from a month to month or based upon a fee, or I do a 3 to 4 month, or most of the clients choose the 6-month plan where that they can get accountability for at least 6 meetings, sometimes it's 7 meetings, at least one a month. The first 2 meetings are usually pretty close together, and that's gathering data on their budgeting, getting it on paper, looking at it, observing all the debt, the income, and what they have to live with, starting with giving and all the way down to the last line on the budget form. So if they will, most of them will go with a 6-month program. So therefore, I start immediately. I send them a packet email saying how much the cost is for the 6 months, how we agree that the fee would be paid, and then we process. Then they send that back to me. But prior to the next meeting, because that meeting is usually 2.5 hours long, because I go line for line, everything in their budget, their equity, their income, and their debt. And I go through and ask lots of questions, which entail, though, the client then asks a lot of questions themselves, because by the first time of them putting it down on the farm, on paper, on purpose, they start asking questions about themselves and what their money's doing. So it's a wake-up call.
You know, it really is, Jim. A lot of my clients were going through the budget form, and it's interesting, and I'll ask them, so how much do you spend on groceries? I don't know.
Right. Most of the people don't know.
How much do I eat out? A lot. Dollars? Don't know. And it's just kind of, as you said, a wake-up call. Yeah. And Jim, is that one of the reasons why you do 6 months? As far as, I mean, that's a commitment that you're making with the client to walk through for 6 months. Why 6 months? Why is it important that you walk with them in this journey for 6 months?
Usually a client, if they're really truthful themselves, it takes almost 4 months to go through all the bumps and the problems areas in their budget, because they forget to write a lot down, and something comes up, like an insurance policy comes up, and 3 months down the road, well, we didn't plan for that. All right, so how do you plan for that? Because I will give them, my goal is to get them to the point where I send them the next budget form that has a sinking fund tab on it, and they start setting up these sinking fund accounts within their emergency fund and within the savings account, and they start saving money for all these little things that come up in life, and they will come up.
So walk me through, you get a client and you start these sinking fund accounts. And for those of you who don't know what a sinking fund is, it's a commercial real estate term. Basically, in short, if you have a 20-year roof, you're going to save back a 20th a year to pay for the roof that you know you're going to pay in 20 years. So, for example, if you know you need to get another car in about 2 or 3 years, you're going to save back so much a month. So, Jim, when you work with these folks, and whether it's using an envelope or a savings account to start saving back monthly for those quarterly insurance payments or Christmas or replacing a car, what's it like for the client to actually see the dollars start to mount up in their savings?
It's fascinating what happens. They didn't think they could do it, but when they start actually putting money in that account or in that envelope, it's amazing what happens to them, and it gives them hope, so much more hope and drive, that they say, well, how much more can we put in here? Or they may say, well, you know what, we need to save more for Christmas, because it's always a bad situation when it comes up in November and they only got 4 weeks to do it. So it's the sinking fund really does hone in on every dollar you're spending, every penny you're spending, and it takes care of all those items like insurance, life insurance, Christmas vacations. I have one client that is superb in this area. She doesn't really put it in the bank because she she's real old school about banks, and but she has 17 envelopes.
Wow, 17.
17. She's on irregular income. First of all, she's in her 60s, and she was never taught about money. Got divorced, and she was out there just floundering and had no idea and what was going to happen to her. So she has irregular income, so you have to take the lowest amount of income and just start working. And she has come up with the plan that she needs 17 envelopes, and she saves for everything. It's amazing what she does. I tell a lot of folks, tell a lot of clients, hey, well, I don't know if I can do 6 envelopes. Hey, if somebody can do 17, you can do 6. That's not that hard to do. 6 to 17. That's 3 times the amount almost.
Well, we can start them at baby steps, at least at a couple if we need to.
Yeah, again.
Well, Jim, it's interesting as you were talking about that. That got me to thinking, and I want to ask you, what's it like as a coach? You meet with someone for 40, 45 minutes. You sense from the client that, man, they're embarrassed. They're ashamed where they are. They're angry with themselves. They're not in good spirits with their money. And you start to coach with them, and you see the light bulbs come on. You see them start to get traction. And for the first time, you begin to see the clients start to really believe that we could start taking control of our money and stop living broke. What's it like for you as a coach, seeing that transition from being completely scared, no plan, to starting to get the idea how this works?
Well, it's gratifying to know that I said the right word. I spoke the right. A lot of times I will give my own personal testimony in such a way that, okay, yeah, you did this, and this was called stupid tax. But you know what? I did it too, and here's what I did, and here's how I overcame that. And I just put that hope into them, and I can see their arms fall down to their sides. I see their faces light up, and I see for the guys, a smile comes out of them. And then when they say, "Wow, you are right. We can do this, but we just need your coaching expertise in handling that," and that's what I do. It's a blast.
And if you're like me, at the end of when you're done with the clients, they normally say, "Where were you 10, 15 years ago?" Yeah,
they do. They said, "Why didn't we come to you a long time?" Well, first of all, I wasn't here, but but I'm here now, so let's go forward.
You bet. So give us an inspiring client story. So, give us a story of a client that you had that, that went from start to finish and that would be inspiring for our listeners here.
Well, let's see. I'll take one client. He works off cash basis. He really doesn't get a lot of checks, but when you work off cash basis, a lot of times this is a construction worker. Married, has a child, and they bought a brand new car the month before they started seeing me, and their focus was that they could be debt free other than their house, and that would be the best plan, the scenario, and then they could maybe think about having an addition to their family because then they get rid of the debt. Well, they came in to me, like I said, they bought a $18,000-$19,000 car prior to seeing me. And then after about, 30 days after the second meeting, I said, maybe you need to look at this car and sell this car. I know you're upside down, but then you can make a loan for the difference and get you another vehicle, and then we could have that car paid off in 2 months.
Wow.
Rather than you're going to take another 36 months, and if you have another child, you're going to be struggling, and it's going to be tight for you. So they actually did follow that advice. All their friends said they were stupid. You shouldn't be doing this. Why are you letting this guy tell you to sell your car? But they were so happy because they did become 100% debt free, other than their house, and they're saving, and they've got their 6 months worth of savings in the bank, emergency fund in the bank as we speak.
Wow. So for my listeners out there, I want you to imagine what it would be like to have no debt, everything paid off but the house, 6 months of savings for emergencies only in an emergency fund, and having total control and peace with your life. That's what we do with coaching, and it really is about behaviors that lead to the right numbers. And Jim, that's what we do all the time. So, Jim,
absolutely.
Real quick, as we're coming up to the end of the break here, walk us, tell us, what is with your clients, what do you normally hear at the end? What are the normal things you hear from clients at the end of 6 months?
Normally they say, I've become a friend to them, and they say, well, we're going to go see Coach Jim today. It's more of a personal rather than go see Mr. White. They feel comfortable. The clients feel comfortable, and a lot of them still go ahead and because of accountability purposes, they'll continue the process on a quarterly basis or every other month, or some cases monthly. And they say, we love coming to sit down with you, and you pop all these ideals out to us, and yet you don't tell us until you see the numbers. And when I see the numbers on the paper, I just go ahead and it just pops out to me. And I say, well, have you thought about doing it this way? Or have you thought about delivering pizzas just for 1 weekend a month, and you could put $200 towards this and have it paid off in 6 months rather than 18 months. So that's what, folks, they love to hear from you and me, ideals to take care of the situations, because when they're in the box, they just somehow can't see it.
I don't know if you have this number, Jim, but I'm tempted to ask, what is the most debt any one of your clients has ever paid off?
Oh, my goodness. I've got one client right now that's paid off, probably over $150,000.
$150,000 has been paid off, in part into working with a financial coach. And again, with us as financial coaches, we don't sell products or insurance. We're there to teach you the right behaviors with money and hold you accountable to your goals so you can do that. Well, if you want to know more about Jim, go to JimWhiteFinancialCoaching.com. It has been a pleasure, Jim, having you on the show today and sharing with us what you do as a coach. And whether you're Texas, Iowa, or anywhere, there's coaches everywhere to help you.
That's right. Thanks for having me on the program.
All right. Thanks, Jim. And we'll be back.
All right.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershad.
I'm administrative manager
I'm the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, you know, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, it's your home.
You know, it's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're going to do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's going to be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're going to do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed rider it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you going to say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're going to be listening. They're going to want to know what your challenges are. Then they're going to come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you know, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me, but is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though, I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm gonna take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed rider, it's free or 100% money back.
enough said.
Thank you again for joining us. This is the Strong Tower Financial Hour. We are live. We just had Jim White with Jim White's Financial Coaching on our program, and it's good always to hear someone else's perspective who's also in the financial coaching realm, and we hope that you choose financial coaching to get your life back on track. Also had Adam Obrecht with AO Wealth Advisory. We had him on the show talking about the fiscal cliff and how does that affect the average American here. And thank you again for joining us. We're in football season. You might have heard Adam and I talking at the end of our time together about football. His 49ers beat my Packers. We're still licking the wounds on that one. And the reason why I'm bringing up football on a financial show is there was an article that came out back in the beginning of this football season, so September 2012, there was an article that I thought would be very inspirational and give us something to think about. This came from Yahoo Sports in September of 2012, and Redskins rookie Alfred Morris is still driving his 1991 Mazda. That's the title of this article. Players' parking lots at any NFL team headquarters could double as luxury car lots, with Lexus, BMW, Porsche, and Cadillac dominating the landscape. And then there's Washington Redskins rookie running back Alfred Morris, who gets to and from work in the same 1991 Mazda 626 he picked up during his junior year at Florida Atlantic University. The estimated Kelley Blue Book value, get this, $1,200. He goes on and quotes, It has some sentimental value to it now, Morris told the team's official website. It just keeps me grounded, where I came from and all the hard work it took me to get to this point. So that's what helps me. With former number 3 overall pick Vince Young making headlines for going broke, Morris was wise to wait until he is established before splurging on an expensive car. He was selected in the 6th round of the 2012 NFL Draft, the number 173rd pick in the 2012 Draft. Morris signed a 4-year deal worth $2,223,100 on May 7th. Of that amount, only $123,000 was considered a signing bonus, and that was guaranteed. Of course, that is pre-tax income, which means it's not including taxes, agent fees, the cost of pre-draft training, etc., all with no guarantees of receiving any checks beyond the weekly $850 per diem checks that rookies earn during minicamp and training camp. With 2 game checks in his account, $45,882 before taxes, Morris could probably find a suitable upgrade without breaking the bank. But the Mazda isn't going anywhere. Check this out. He says, "One day my kids are going to drive that car," Morris added. "If it breaks down, I'm getting it fixed. That's just how I am." Wow. NFL rookie signs a big-time contract, for a rookie anyway, and is driving a 22-year-old car amongst brand new Mercedes, Cadillacs, BMWs. That's just unheard of. Do you think Alfred got picked on maybe just a little bit by his team members? Why are you driving this car? You could get a brand new car. I mean, you just got a $123,000 signing bonus that you at least get that much. I want you to put yourself in a similar shoes. You have an opportunity to get a large sum of money. What would you do? Would you have gotten a awesome, nice new car, built a nice house? Would you have waited until that money actually comes in? Well, I did some studying and researching, and I found this interesting. AOL.com also reported on a study from Sports Illustrated done in 2009. It said 78% of former NFL players or former NFL players that retired, 78% of them had filed bankruptcy within 2 years of retirement. That is basically 8 out of 10 retired NFL players file bankruptcy within 2 years of retiring from the NFL. Now, obviously in there, I'm sure are players that didn't play for very long or they didn't get the very big contract, but there's also folks in there that did. And I'm not picking on them, but one of them was Warren Sapp, and he was a big name back in my day in school, and, he had $82 million go through his hand and unfortunately filed bankruptcy last year. Mike Tyson, obviously not in football, but had over $400 million go through his hands before he filed bankruptcy. And you might be thinking, well, I would never do that. If I had that much money, I would never. Well, you may not sign an NFL contract, but I do know a lot of you like to play the lottery and hope that someday you win the lottery. Well, let's talk about those who win the lottery. Statistics tell us that if you win the lottery, 6 out of 10 of you will file bankruptcy within 10 years. So within 10 years of winning the big jackpot, 6 out of 10 will file bankruptcy. And there's a 4-fold increase in divorce. Why is that? I mean, they got a lot of money. I mean, what would happen to you if you went from $30,000 a year to $300,000 a year? Or maybe you make a fabulous income already and you're at $300,000. Let's say you go from there to $3 million. Would you do this similar? See, the more money you make, the more it magnifies your behavior. So if you make $20,000 a year and you're a saver, when you start making $200,000 a year, you know what? You're still going to be saving that money. If you make $20,000 a year and you're a spender, when you make $200,000 a year, you're still going to be a spender. It doesn't matter how many credit cards you swipe, then you're going to swipe just as many, if not more, when you make more money. I have counseled many, many clients who have their income starts here and it goes higher, 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 and higher. And then by the time I coach them, they go, Justin, I don't get it. I am making more money than ever before, but yet I feel more broke. Why is that? Behavior. Let's look back to what Alfred Morris said. Why did he do this? Why did he drive a $1,200 car when he could have bought something nicer? He says, it just keeps me grounded where I came from and all the hard work it took for me to get to this point. I mean, if you think about that, how many hours did Alfred put in as a young kid through camps and little flag football, and then graduate up to the junior high and high school ranks, and probably practiced more than any other football player in that area, I would imagine. And then only a small percent of folks go from high school to college. And he was one of those smaller college athletes. And so he's practicing a lot more and a lot harder. And only a fraction of those who go to college go to the NFL ranks. And once you make the NFL, only a fraction of them go and actually have a contract to play in the NFL. So we're talking a very small percent. And if you were to just think about the work that it would take to get there, what he's saying out loud is, I don't want to lose all that work and sweat to get to this point and lose it all. Because he has seen what has happened with fellow colleagues that are beyond him in experience and have seen that most of them live broke lives and does not want to do that. I also thought it was interesting that he said, one day my kids are going to drive that car. That's a 40-year-old car by the time his kids turn 16. I don't know many people today that drive 1970 cars unless they're collectors. And yet he wants to set an example for his kids on how to live with money. And you know what's interesting, as I looked up, now that we're at the end of the season, and obviously Washington's not in the playoffs, I was curious what he did as a running back. He set a single season franchise record, 1,613 rushing yards. In fact, there's a highlight reel on NFL.com right now of his rushing abilities that he did this year. So he started out with a $2.2 million contract, set a record. If he has another good year or two, he's going to have an awesome, awesome contract. And as long as he keeps the same behaviors he had to keep him grounded, using his words, when he gets even to a bigger contract, he's going to do more and more right things with money. And so when we had Jim White on earlier today, and we were talking about financial coaching, and we had Adam Obrecht on earlier talking about the estate tax. Well, why do I care about the estate tax? If you do smart things with money long enough, that estate tax means something to you. And the reason why you want to hire a financial coach in your life is because we're going to hold you accountable. Looking into the mirror of what you've not done right is not an easy process. And to have someone walk you through confidentially what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. This is what a budget looks like. This is when you save. This is when you spend. This is when you invest. And giving you step-by-step program. When you can have someone walk you through and you don't have to worry about being sold anything, just get good fashion advice, you can win. And so let me ask you, who do you want to be? Do you want to be like the Alfred Morrises of the world who make the right decisions? Even when there's a large income that looks to happen, do you want to be that person that makes the right decisions to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor later? Or do you want to be like most of us, spend everything we make, have nothing in savings, and no matter how much our income goes up or your income goes up, you still feel broke? I always tell my clients, it's hard to win with money, and it's hard being broke. If it's going to be hard either way, you might as well do the right things with money, because if it's going to be hard, I want to feel peace. And a lot of folks going through financial coaching, they have peace with their money. They have contentment. They know what to do. If they're married, they're getting along. The number one cause for divorce in America today is money problems and money fights. I have counseled so many marriages that have said, oh, we're doing well, but in this area of finance, and if we don't get this thing figured out, we're in trouble. So personal finance is personal. Personal finance, if you want to win with money, you've got to be able to control it. And the benefit, again, of hiring a coach to help you is to hold you accountable and to show you these things. So again, Alfred Morris, rookie. Now he's no longer a rookie. His rookie season's over. Has a $2.2 million contract, and he's getting paid very well, and he is handling it very well. I am just excited to see in this culture, in this day and age, that we can have a good role model in sports to look up to when it comes to how to handle money, because the game of it is, hey, when you get to our league, man, you can just buy everything you want. But money is finite. Whether you have $82 million run through your hands, $400 million run through your hands, or if you're like you and me, just regular stuff, money is finite. And the sooner we understand that as humans, the sooner we understand as consumers, then we can save, but we also can spend. And there's nothing wrong with spending. I don't think there's anything wrong with getting a new car. I don't think there's anything wrong with getting a new house. I don't think there's anything wrong with going out to eat or, those things. But nothing's worse than spending money and then a few days later, a few weeks later, a few years later, feeling guilty and going, man, why did I do all those things when it comes to money? Now, if any of this sounded awesome to you, I recommend going to my website, strongtowerconsulting.com, strongtowerconsulting.com. If you are interested in finding out more about how financial coaching can help you, I do encourage you to click the free consultation link on my website. Just need to fill out some information. It will take you about 30 seconds. In that free 30-minute consultation, what I'll be doing is just hearing your story. Where did you come from? And then there's no judgments. I'm not going to make you feel bad. I made some poor choices as well with money. But in that 30-minute consultation, I'm going to find out what happened and then give you that hope that Jim and I were talking about. And it will literally change your life when you have someone show you this. It is amazing how in 90 days or in 6 months, how you can go from being that broken, scared to having hope with a plan. So again, the website is strongtowerconsulting.com. I want to thank Ryan Northfield, our producer. Also want to thank our advertiser, Adam Obrick with AO Wealth Advisory, to be here on our show, as well as Jim White with Jim White Financial Coaching. I am Justin Bennett, your host of Strong Tower Financial Hour. We are glad you are here, and good night.
This broadcast is designed to provide accurate and authoritative information with regard to the subject matter covered. It is sold with the understanding that the radio host nor the station isn't engaged in rendering legal, accounting, or other professional advice. If legal advice or other expert professional assistance is required, the services of a competent professional should be sought.